Good afternoon, everyone, on Patriots Day. A very different Patriots Day than usual, but I'm still here, still alive. And yeah, we're going to do some nature collages, which you can, as always, do along with me, or, try later. You're cutting off the top of my head today because I'm trying to show my workspace a little bit better. I have a brown piece of construction paper, but you can use printer paper. You can also, instead of doing like a print paper, glued collage, which I'm going to try and do to the best of my ability here and show, you can also do, maybe I'll do some bushes. You can also do like a sculpture kind of thing with it. As always, feel free to comment. If you have any questions or any comments on anything, please let me know. I keep an eye on the comments as we go, and I will respond as in kind. So yeah, welcome. So I have a pile of assorted outdoor things. It's not the best time of year because we don't have like big leaves and stuff, and it's not like fall with the leaves, but it's not a bad time of year either. There's a lot of stuff out there if you want to pick, flowers and stuff. I picked, and now it's basically dried because I picked it a while ago, but one of the things I picked was a dandelion. So you can pick all sorts of stuff. Before I get super started on this, I'm going to show you a couple of things. So first of all, I finally made a triceratops out of the paper towel tube. I painted him a nice rose gold, because I happen to have a nice metallic one. But it's the same concept as this guy in that you lay it flat, cut out the main outline. You then cut the shield part out with, face part, out with whatever you have, the leftover part of the toilet paper roll that you haven't cut out yet. I have another matching piece because I cut out double the same way. And then the only real tricky part with this one is you have to cut slits because the horns are part of the original part that you've cut out. So you have to cut slits to get your horns in, and that's the trickiest part. It's great if you have like a box cutter, works really well, but you can also use scissors or any number of like sharp knives as long as you have something behind it that you're not gonna cut through. So make sure you have cardboard or something underneath it, or even a couple extra pieces of this. But yeah, he came out really nicely. He's very cute. I enjoy him. So I'm glad that worked out. Remove him too. And then, as I talked about last time as well, there is the, as an idea of something you can do, again, with stuff that you have. I made him way back in high school, so many, many years ago. Gotta find my camera. He is made out of little moss, mostly bark. He is supposed to be an Ent, so there's a little thing about hobbits on there. But his base, all he's glued on is a toilet paper roll. You can see the wood in there. I think it's been a really long time and I can't really see the base anymore, but I think I did do I think I had like a wooden ball for his head, but you wouldn't need it. He'd just be a little shorter, because he's not really rounded, which is why I'm not even sure I have a wooden ball in there, but that's what it looks like from the little bit I can peek in. Looks like I put something in his head. So this is, again, an example of something you can make if you have a lot of bark. Like I have some birch bark here that I'm going to use today. So that kind of thing will, you can do it with, going back to our toilet paper. Speaking of our toilet paper things, this is another kind of thing you can do, is make something using nature stuff on a toilet paper roll. So I'm going to put him over here out of the way. So let's go through the couple of things that I have to work with today. I'm still getting used, I recently moved, I'm still getting used to the neighborhood and finding stuff, but I found a few good things. As I said, I found a dandelion, which has since basically dried. So we've got a dandelion. I have some birch bark, a little piece of birch bark. I have some short pine needles on a stick, which I think, my guess is I'm going to want to at least strip some of this. It's a little flat on this side. Ooh, there's some of them coming off because it's dried because I collected these days ago. I have just a stick that I can break into smaller sticks as I so see fit. I have a pine cone. Pine cones, it's a little smushed because it's last year's pine cone, but pine cones are always good. I'm not even sure. This is some sort of branch that came off a tree that's sprouting this year. It looked really cool. It's red and green. So I grabbed that. I also have half a walnut that I can use, or a walnut shell, half a walnut shell. Oh, what else do I have over here? I have a couple little, here's a dried, just little green, like seed thing out of a tree. Here's another thing of the same. It's not dried as well, but it's kind of sprouted since I pulled it. I have those, and last but not least, I have some big needles on a bigger branch. So this is what I have to work with. As I said, oh, and there's more pine needles. As I said, anything you might have will work just fine. There's no right or wrong answers on what you're going to do. What I'm going to do today, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to make my collage look like. And what I decided on after doing some Google searching to get some ideas was I think I'm going to make I was going to make a tree, but it works better landscape. So I think I'm going to try and make 2 bushes. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my big old stick here, break it up for like my stems isn't the right word, my trunks of my bushes / trees. And then I'm going to use the rest of this stuff and kind of peel it apart and glue it down in a pattern that I find pleasing to the eye to create the approximation of bushes. So I'm going to start by breaking up my stick here. So that's 1 bush, and I think this will be another bush. So now I have these 2 as the bases of my bushes. So that's I'm going to glue them down. So you have this to work my leaves around, and the same thing with the other one. I might have to be a little jerky on this one, and I might have to pick my camera up to show you the over angle at points, because I'm not sophisticated enough to do that, and I don't think my glue will dry quick enough for me to do that. So that's in some ways why doing like a sculpture kind of thing works better. I just don't have the materials to be able to do a good 3D object today. So I have 2 kinds of glue here. I finally found something other than Mod Podge. I have both Gorilla Glue and basic Elmer's glue. They will both work. They both have pros and cons. Neither one of them dries super quickly. So I'm going to start with the Elmer's glue just because, as I'm focused on talking as well, I'm way more likely to glue myself to something with this. And yeah, we'll go from there. So, while the bird does a shriek, I'm going to glue down. I'm going to glue directly to my stick, partially because it's easier to tell where it's going to actually touch the paper. So it's not going to touch the paper in all of the spots. So I think that pretty much, I misjudged a couple places, but so we're going to glue that down. Do a little more glue. You know what, I think I'm going to break, because of the way this branch lies, I'm going to break that piece off, which is going to give me more surface area that actually touches my paper. So I don't think I'm going to be able, there's any way I'm going to be able to pick this up as I work. So I will show you. Afra, what do you have to say for yourself? What do you have to say for yourself, bird? Are you trying to make stuff too? You gonna try and make a craft? Is that really what your problem is, Afra? Is it that you are not included in the crafting? Probably. She does like to be included in everything. Now that I am covered in glue, which is exactly why I'm not using the super glue. Oh, let's see what else I've got. Okay, so I've got my, let me just lean over here awkwardly. I apologize, folks, but I need to grab some of the paper towel that's over here so I can wipe the glue off me. There we go. Got the glue off. All right. So as you can see, I've got my sticks glued down here. You don't really need to see me, so I apologize for the wash. I don't have the best lighting in the world. But there's my sticks. They are gluing down. They're actually the thicker ones sticking better, but either way, it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna break my bark into a couple smaller pieces here. There we go. And we're gonna glue. So I've got like a little V here. You can kind of see there's a V there. I'm going to try and, this kind of ended up being a V shape, so let me see if I can slot this right in there so that it looks, there we go. Let's see, I feel like I should be able to get better lighting, but turning off the light didn't help. It just washed me out, so it's going to be one of those crafts that's just a little harder to show, but if you want to craft along, then you don't need to be able to see what I'm doing anyway. I'm going to do the same kind of V thing on this side because I'm nothing if not a creature of habit. Here, let me see if I can just lift and kind of see. There's my two pieces. Put that down here. So I'm going to save the rest of my bark to see where I want to put it later. I think I'm going to use my little dandelion here. And we'll put some glue on that. Glue that, you know, just out here by the edge of this one. So you guys can see that one real good because it's out on your end. This is definitely going to be my most interesting art so far, I think. Because again, a little out of my comfort zone, even more so than the other stuff, because the other stuff generally, although, you know, it doesn't matter really what it looks like in the end, I really had a good picture of what I was doing and had specific steps. Where this is more, you're trying to put stuff where to you, it's just pleasing to the eye. So you have something that looks pretty in the end. And I suspect that while my dinosaurs and other things that I have done, here's my little walnut half. I'll glue that to this guy. Where some of my other things I've kept. They're all sitting around this table, my little cork people and stuff. Don't know if I'm going to keep this one, I'll be honest. But, you know, we'll see. Never say never. It might come out amazing and I might love it. But it's also okay if it doesn't come out amazing. And if I don't love it, that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with not quite finding your art to be what you want it to be. And I'm not saying that it needs to be perfect. I'm just saying every once in a while, your vision just doesn't come out the way you expect it to. And that's okay. All right, I'm going to rip a little piece off of here. And let's see, I think I'm going to glue that over here. I mean, having some actual leaves might have been nice, but all the ones I could find were very leftover damaged ones from last fall, very brittle, and I knew that they just basically disintegrate as soon as I touched them anyway. So I think what I'm going to do with my, yeah, you think so too, Afra? I think what I'm going to do with my pine cone is I think I'm going to take it apart because it's a little thick. The walnut I think is working okay. Yep, he's sticking on there quite nicely actually. Because he kind of seals in because he's got the holes. I think I'm going to take my my pine cone here though and take it apart and just kind of glue pieces in other places. So that piece that I broke off earlier because it didn't sit nicely, I've now put back on there because once it broke off, it actually sits quite nicely. It sits flat itself. So. Let me do a couple more things and then I will show you guys what I have done. I'll show you progress again. I think I'm going to let's take a big old thing of leaves and we're just going to kind of, needles I mean, and just kind of For this, I'm just going to glue I'm going to glue on the paper because, again, I'm going to get it all over myself if I don't. You just kind of press down. It is probably a good idea to have some, yes, Afra, I was getting to that. Have some paper towel handy when you're gluing like this, even if you're not using super glue, because you're not going to glue yourself. You're not going to glue yourself together using Elmer's glue, but it can just get really messy. I'd like to try and use this. Let's see if I have a feeling when I break this, I'm going to just lose a lot of needles everywhere. I don't even know if I can break it. I have scissors. Let me grab out the scissors. We're going to cut. There we go. Trying not to get needles everywhere. I'm only partially succeeding, so, you know, that's where you're at. Let's do my needles here. Ooh, you did get that good, cutting that though, I've gotten that good fresh pine scent, which is quite a nice smell. Yeah, let me show you progress here. Let me take the needles off my keyboard. Give you a progress shot here. So that's my progress so far. I'm gonna do it this way. There you go. That's my progress so far. So they're looking actually, the more I put on them, the more I like them. They're a little unusual. But you know, that's the thing about working with stuff from the outside, is that it doesn't come in perfect and you don't know exactly what you're going to necessarily get when you go out looking for stuff. And because of that, your art's going to look interesting. And you can do any number of things. As I said, I got some inspiration from Google to do, you know, bushes / trees based off the you know, out of things that would come off. Thank you, Afra. Bushes and trees. But you can do any number of things. You can just literally, you know, take a piece of paper and just glue on a random pattern. Thank you. You can also, you know, do any number of other things. One of the other things I saw that looked really cool that I couldn't quite figure out how to do well with what I had was you can make bugs out of, so like they kind of use the leaf or a pine cone as a body and then have the legs, something as the legs, and, you know, and little antennae, so like these little things would be really good for little antennae, and that sort of thing. So you can kind of do whatever you want with it. Collage, the nice thing about collage is that they're excuse me, let me just swallowed a little wrong there. Yes, I think Afra does think I should be using bird feathers. And I would have been tempted to use her feathers, but I'm trying to do things that are native to the Northeast, which conures, last I checked, are not native to the Northeast. And I did not, in my walks in the last week, I have not found any bird feathers, which is a bit disappointing because they are a great thing to use. They, even like crow feathers and stuff, are a nice pop of color because they're so distinctly that color, which is why I was really glad I found the birch bark, because it's a fairly unique color in nature. Like, you do find white things, like there's white flowers and stuff, but, you know, you don't find other barks like this, and you don't find stuff like that, so I was really happy to have some birch bark handy, that I could use for this because, yeah, it's a nice color variant. Just, and as I mentioned with my dandelion here, you can see, let me scooch it back. That dandelion was picked on Thursday or Friday. So and it was a full dandelion when I picked it. So just be aware with some of the things, especially things that are, you're not just picking off the ground, but maybe you're picking like a flower or something. They will change consistency and color and like vibrancy as they dry out. So just be aware if you're working with things that you've just gotten, you've just picked, they might change with time. So like this one I just got today. I'm not sure when it fell out of its tree. So it might change significantly, in the next day or two in my art. It might lose some of its color. It might flop a different way. So yeah. So let me just put a couple more things on here, and then I'm going to be, I think we can wrap this up. I already put something there. And then what I'll do is I will let this dry, kind of see what I think, maybe add some more stuff for next time, and then I will, I'll show it off in next week. And you can kind of see how it came out and whether I still think I like it or if I like it better or what. Put a little more birch bark down. I would have liked a little more color. Again, birch bark was really good for that. But my house does not have any flowering plants of its own except for dandelions. And obviously I'm not going to pick other people's flowers. Please don't do that if you're looking for this kind of stuff. If it's in somebody's yard, if you do not have permission to pick their flowers, please do not pick their flowers. Even if you're picking, your own flowers, if you're a kid, make sure you have parents' permission, etc., etc. I don't want anybody, basically stealing other people's flowers for this particular craft. So yeah, I think we're good there. So let me got glue everywhere. Let me clean off my glue, and then clean off my hand. And yeah, I'm gonna add a little more to this, I think, after. But I think this is a good. So let me show you where I'm at with my computer. I had a question of what kind of glue. So there we go. See, it looks pretty cool. I like how the walnut, because the nice thing too is that you can kind of see is that it adds it's got a 3D effect. And yeah, as far as what kind of glue, which somebody asked, any kind of glue will work. Yeah, I'm using just the Elmer's clear glue, but I had Gorilla Glue as a backup, because sometimes, I think I might have to touch up a few places here with the Gorilla Glue to really get it to stick down. Because you might have noticed when I just flipped that up, there's some really damp spots on my paper from this glue, where this glue, you use a little less, it's a little more targeted. But any of the glues will work. I'm trying to think if rubber cement would work. Probably actually work pretty well, better maybe even than these guys. But any glue that you have around the house will work. Some you're just going to need to let sit long. I'm going to really need to let this sit a while until I can't see those wet spots anymore, until I'm sure that it might be glued down. And even then I might have to go back. I can see that there's a couple spots, especially on this larger branch here, where I thought it was touching the paper and it's not. So I might have to go back and do some touch up later with some more glue. You can just kind of get in, I'm not going to open it, but get in along the sides and just put some more in there. The nice stuff about the clear is that it dries clear. Gorilla Glue will also dry clear, but regular Elmer's glue will work just fine as well. So yeah, so for next week, what we're going to do is we're going to collect your egg cartons, if you aren't already. Any egg cartons will work. Paper ones might be a little bit better because they will accept color better. But you can certainly do this with the kind of styrofoamy ones too. So next week you're just going to need egg cartons, scissors, and something to color them with. If you have colored paper, like a construction paper, that's an added bonus, but you don't need it. And one of the things we're going to make is I've actually made a sample ahead of time. Is we're going to make these little penguins you can see how you make little penguins. You can see that's where the construction paper comes in, but you can also either paint the legs on or cut in a different way so that you have a little section for the feet. And we're also going to make egg carton owls. But yeah, basically all you need is scissors, egg cartons, something to color it with. I used paints again, but Sharpies would work. Crayola markers would work. Crayon and colored pencil. I don't know if I still have my sample toilet paper roll. I don't think I do. Where I colored all the different things on them, but it's a similar thing. One of the darker, heavier stuff will work better. So yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do owls. The owls, you can cut it so you don't need glue. Probably not a bad idea to have some glue on hand or some tape. Tape would work as well. So one of those two things as well. But pretty simple list for next week. So yeah, save your egg cartons if you haven't already. And I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.